All right, well, we are at 6 o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order so we can all get out of here in enough time to go see the football game. So welcome everyone. I know that last meeting that we had in August, Prince was kind enough to lead that meeting, so I'm going to do him a favor and lead this one. My name is Courtney James, and Prince and I are co-chairs for the committee. So the first thing is I'm going to have, I think, Benita take roll.
Okay. Angela Vick Lewis. Lori Beatty. Glenda Ange.
Present.
Prince Rivers. Courtney James.
Present.
Ben Sanders.
Present.
Leah Efford Green.
Present.
Thomas O'Rourke.
Present.
Shannon Judd. Jennifer Wright. Umberto Trejo.
Present.
Cornell Richards. S. Nicole Diggs. Howard Burchett.
Present.
Lisa Brown.
Present.
Okay, the roll is completed.
Okay, thank you for that. So as far as the agenda goes, tonight we have, it looks like we have a pretty short agenda. We've got an update from the Durham Housing Authority and then a community development update from Reginald. So, and then we'll open it up for public comments. Before we do that though, the minutes were distributed to everyone. I know there was one change that was sent out. Are there any other changes or additions to those minutes? Okay, hearing none, is there a motion to accept the minutes for the record?
I move that we accept the minutes.
Okay, thank you, Nicole. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
And that was Leah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So with a motion and a second, I'll call the formal vote. Everyone in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Minutes approved. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Anthony Scott for a Durham Housing Authority update.
Sorry to disappoint you, but Anthony Snell will take it today.
Okay.
So that's okay. we have the wonderful role of being two Anthonys. Is either Anthony 1 or Anthony 2. So I'm 2. Okay. So just very quickly, just want to update you on a couple of things that have been happening on our side. We are pretty much in what I consult the meat grinding portion of what it is we do. We're focused on right now on trying to close on several transactions, as well as we're in the beginning stages of construction on several of our transactions. So those are periods that we find ourselves in right now. So just want to quickly update you on where we are with one of our recent projects, the Joyce, talk about CNI just a little bit and update you where we are on with phase 2 of the DDMP, which is the DHA Downtown Neighborhood Plan, which we refer to as DDMP. So you can go forward 2 slides. Next slide, please. just want to update you. We're making a lot of progress on our lease up at our new site there at the Joyce, which is to the right there, which is our new property, which is 80 units. We are probably somewhere about 98% lease up on that site at this particular point. It was 96 when I was pulling the data together, and that will only leaves us with a couple of more units to lease up. One of the good things about this site is that as we are doing our relocation for our new construction at the 519 and Liberty site, we were able to move a couple of families to this site as part of the temporary relocation. And that's a wonderful thing to have units available within our portfolio where we can easily access and find opportunities for the residents to live temporarily while during the new construction. So we're very pleased with being able to get that achieved. Next slide, Pete, please. Just quickly here, just to reacquaint you with the whole CNI process. As you see, number 1 there, that's the Elizabeth Street site that's currently under construction. It is part of the larger site, but it's considered technically one of the it's a non-CNI site because we started construction on it and closed on it before we actually received the CNI grant on the site. So that was, this particular area was left out, but it is under construction as we speak. When I talk about, if you see 2 and 3 there on the diagram, this is our Commerce Street site, which is the first phase of the CNI. It's 172 units. It includes a family site and a senior site. And part of our partnership with the city is providing, certainly on the bond finance fund, on our bond funds, but also the city is providing an $8 million home grant loan for this transaction. So that's part of our support there. So that is what we are about to commence construction on once we get through the financial closing. We were hoping, we're still pressing, trying to get this transaction closed before the end of this calendar year. It's likely that it may slip into the January timeframe, just given the holidays. And hopefully we won't have any interruption if the government shuts down also the middle of this month. So, but we are pressing forward at this point, trying to get it closed. I will tell you that all of the residents that are impacted by this construction site have been relocated to their temporary location at this point. We have started part of the remediation for asbestos. That's underway. We do have permission from HUD to proceed with the demolition, so we can get that underway while we are waiting to actually close on that transaction and commence construction. If you look at what is considered to be in the background there, number 4, this is all part of what we call Dillard Street. And that Dillard Street part will consist of about 150 units. We are actually building that. It's going to be built out in 3 or 2 phases. I would say it's the way it's set up, the way we have it set up. We were very fortunate to get a 9% low-income housing tax credit approved for what we call Dillard A. And the reason we were able to get that is because the North Carolina Housing Finance Agency had a special set aside in its program for choice neighborhood initiatives, which this entire site will include choice neighborhood. Next slide, please. I spoke about Elizabeth as you know, we've closed on that. Construction is underway. That's 72 units. And then I spoke about Commerce Street as well, which is 172 units. And that's 2 buildings. One's a family building and one is a seniors building. Next slide, please. And this is the work that's underway at Elizabeth Street. The top would be my top left. This is where this is our initial site work here that took place. If I go down to the bottom right, you'll see the big pile of dirt there. That is is the results of a lot of the utility work that has gone in on the site. Actually, the proper placing of the utilities and sequencing and working through with all of the utility companies and getting this and working through with the city as well as Duke Power for the utilities. That has been a little slow part of the site of the whole construction, just the coordination of all that. We're running about a month behind, but the sense is that we will be able to deliver this site, this project by December of 2024. That's when we have to deliver. The 2 towers that you see erected here, these are elevator pits. So this represent the 2 corners of the building where the actual elevator shaft, they call them pits. But this is where usually on these construction sites, these are the first vertical structures that go up, and then they'll come back in and set and start and pour the foundation, and then we'll start the framing. But that's where we are on those sites. And then good news to report on our DDMP phase 2, which is Fayette Place, Forest Hill Heights, and the DHA office and County Criminal Justice Center. We have actually executed our master development agreements for the Fayette Place and Forest Hill Heights. This is the result of a lot of hours of negotiation, community engagement, and residents meetings. For Fayette Place, we have actually started our working group meetings, and a lot of that is focused on things such as confirming the zoning, making determinations on what we may have to do with respect to how we move the zoning process forward for our development plan. We've had some initial discussions with the city, the planning department as part of this process, and we'll be following up with them for more in-depth discussions as we flush out the plans for Fayette Place. Forest Hill Heights, we have submitted the preliminary 4% low-income housing tax credit application to North Carolina Housing Finance. That first phase of that site should be somewhere close to about 120 units. We currently have 55 units on the site, about 54 of them occupied. So we have to replace all of the current units on the site. And then as part of that first phase, there will be about 62 units that will come over from the Choice neighborhood that will go at the Forest Hill Heights site as well. So we are moving forward with the development of these sites. Certainly, these are multi-year, multi-phase developments. We have a lot of work to do to get there, but we are excited to have completed our agreements, and now we can move forward with the development. I will tell you, DHA office in the county site had of the 3, that was our lowest priority at that point. But now that we have these other 2 out, we are actually visiting with our development partners on taking a look at the plans or development strategy for this site. So we have now that we have those first two out of the way, we have turned to this site and started that process as well. And we'll have more on that as we move forward with the development. Any questions? All right, I'll let Mr. Johnson answer all of my questions. He knows everything that we're doing.
Thank you, Anthony Snell. I appreciate that.
Okay.
Hand it over to you, Reginald.
All right, thank you. Thank you so very much. What I'm going to do is for this particular meeting is yield most of my time to two of our vendors for updates. One will be Mawson Ross and the other will be UMC NC, who handles our minority and women-owned business participation. Well, I didn't say that right. Participation. Sorry about that. It's been a long day.
Yeah.
And then what I will share with you was that we will be providing updates at the next meeting, which will include detailed financial updates. At the February meeting, we just met with the manager to provide financial updates on Fayetteville Home Durham, and we will be sharing with that as well as project updates that's non-housing authority at the next meeting. But I also will share with you that turn it over to Jenny Pulowski of French West Vaughn, who partners with Mawson Ross. Did I get that right, Jenny?
Yeah, thanks,
Yeah,
Reginald.
who actually works with French West Vaughn to provide us some updates on our communication, because that's one of the responsibilities that the Affordable Housing Implementation oversees, and so we wanted to get an update from them. That contract is coming to an end, but we hope to extend it, and we're looking to extend it. But I thought this would be a good time for them to provide a summary and tell us what they anticipate for the work that they've done and what they anticipate for the future.
Yeah, thank you, Reginald. So I can give a couple of highlights. Some might be reminders. I don't have a visual presentation to share. I did last meeting, and so I'll reference a little bit of that, but I also would be happy to provide materials that I'm sure Bonita can make sure get distributed to the committee that reference and speak to some of the highlights I'll overview. It's always a good lead-in when Anthony Snell goes through all of the progress, milestones, upcoming, past demolitions, future builds, because it's a nice segue into where we really focus a lot of our work, which is calling attention to those important moments of progress in the program. So much of what you heard him speak to is where we spend time speaking to the media, making sure they have the updated information, anticipate what stories are coming, and a couple of highlights since we were together last include not only sort of the sticks and bricks items that Mr. Snell went through, but also storytelling around really third-party credibility moments, as well as personal storytelling moments. So the DHA was a recipient of the North Carolina Housing Finance Agency Award. They got a different but similar award from the agency last year. And so that was an opportunity for us to reach out and get some additional media coverage, working directly with the finance agency to call attention to that. We also had Mr. Snell and Reginald speak on a panel that was hosted by the Fox Foundation, which is a nonprofit in Durham. And it was the topic was affordable housing. So putting forward these knowledgeable thought leaders in our community doing the work and making sure the message and the voice is present in those settings is really important. It's oftentimes a very grassroots communications effort, and that was a good example of that, having them on that panel to share updates and a lot of times actually squash any misunderstandings or misconceptions of progress and expenditures, and really lay out true true points of fact as it relates to the challenges ahead in the community. We also, and this is where last committee meeting, we did this solicitation of you all as well. So I'm going to do it again, but we work hard to share personal stories of those who are impacted by this program in a positive way. And sometimes that's people benefiting from the housing itself. Sometimes that is telling other stories of those partners who are doing the important work. And we are currently featuring or writing a feature, have it ready, so it'll be published soon, and we'll make sure it gets distributed to you all, of a gentleman that is benefiting from the MWBE line item of the program, which is, if you'll remember, of course, there are very specific goals that we're working to, that the city and its partners are working to achieve. And one is bringing employment opportunities to minority business owners. And so we've got a great story on a gentleman who's a plumber who has received a great opportunity through the program to grow his business, and not only by way of getting actual and specific jobs related to the program, but also then registering his business in MWB as officially, which, you know, ideally and hopefully will lead to some more work for him and his small company. The last item I'll speak to, and of course, I'm also happy to answer any questions. You may remember we shared in full updates of a paid media program that we're running, and that is continuing to run in the market. It does end this month. We've already presented plans for how to pick that back up in 2024 to raise awareness of the importance. We've talked about, there's not only the appropriate and strong implementation of the current funding, but the need to stay minded and help the community stay focused on future funding needs that are going to be important to continue the progress. And that paid program stands a real opportunity to help drive that community education. And I think that's it for the comments I was going to share. Reginald, let me know if there's something else you wanted me to speak to specifically. And otherwise, like I said, happy to answer any questions anyone may have.
You can share a little bit more of what you think we might be working on in future, if you have anything you want to add.
Sure. So a lot of it will be continued examples of the work cited, right? So storytelling, raising awareness for upcoming, all of what Anthony Snell went through. These are important milestones coming up. So from an earned media perspective, working to make sure media is, reporters are paying attention to the positive stories. And I know I don't have to tell this group that that takes work. Often the negative stories, any complaints, any issues, those are, of course, always going to get covered and get covered first. So that always on effort to build relationships with reporters and make sure that they're telling the good news is something we'd love to continue to work really hard at, and feel that it's very important to stay really focused there. We have recommended a continuation of that paid campaign strategy, which has proven to really increase awareness in the community all throughout Durham, all throughout the city, through television, streaming television, digital media, and some physical media that you might remember or are currently still seeing out in the market, which include bus wraps and some physical signage around the construction sites and the new build sites. So that's where we're focused. In addition to that, we're working with and have been working with Anthony Snell, Anthony Scott, as well as Reginald on putting together some real thought leadership pieces, just like I spoke about with the Fox Foundation panel that they sat on and spoke on. We are writing articles that we are working to get published that position these strong leaders and gentlemen here on the call in ways that draw closer, more informed attention to the work that's being done, and continue to educate in that way. So we feel like it's really, we feel it's a really important thing to continue, especially as the implementation of the budget and the bond are still underway. So stopping the communications when we're not done yet, and especially again, as a potential future bond or potential future additional funding needs are on the horizon, raising awareness to that.
Thank you, Jenny.
I have a quick question, Jenny, regarding the Fox Foundation panel. Is there any place on the website and or on social media or anything like that where that stuff is, upcoming events like that are posted? I mean, I'm saying it mostly from personal interest because I feel like there's so many things that are out there that I miss them, and I think to myself, well, it would have been nice to know about that before. But any way to find out about those things before they happen?
Great question. I'll make note of that because one, at very least, this committee needs to know, right? So on the website, we have not been able to so regularly keep that updated with real-time upcoming events. But social media, absolutely. That I know the DHA is doing a great job of continuing to work to share information like that. Alea Sanders is the communication specialist there, and she does a great job. So if you're not following DHA on social, definitely do there. I think that you'd receive some real-time updates and information. But again, I'll make a note because this committee should receive it at a minimum.
Great. Thank you. Any other questions for Jenny? All right, and then we're going to move to Reginald. You said you were
Yes.
yielding to who else?
Yes, I'm yielding to United Minority Contractors of
Yes.
North Carolina. That's Renee Jones and Patrice Haley. And I'll turn over to them. They've presented before this panel before. And so while the presentation is coming up, I would just share, if you remember, that one of the goals for the Forever Durham affordable housing plan is to engage as best we can with specific goals, minority and women-owned businesses. And so the United Minority Contractors of North Carolina, UMCNC, helps us to do that. And they can talk a little bit more about that. Renee and Patrice, are you there?
Yes, I don't know if Benita knows that we're not actually seeing the presentation.
Oh, okay, okay.
Benita, we're seeing your Zoom screen, just a blank Zoom screen right now.
Can you see it now?
Yep.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go first. I'm Renee Jones, and I am the project lead for the UMC NC team. And you're gonna hear from our fearless leader in just a moment. But I'm just gonna take a few moments to go over some updates for you on our activity. So the next slide, Benita. We really do a lot of outreach. And so this sort of represents some of the outreach that we've been doing. We also do a lot of training of the current GCs and some of the MWBEs that are working on the contracts right now. So this is what you're seeing here is some of the up to this date, how many training sessions we've had with general contractors, with developers, and some one-on-one trainings that we've had with MBEs. And then down to the bottom there, you'll see that we really try to make sure that the word gets out about these opportunities. So we attend as many events as possible around the triangle and some in the triad area to make sure that contractors know that we have some opportunities here in the Forever Home Durham program. And we do this so that we can continue to help the general contractors find minority and women-owned businesses that are interested in working on these projects, and they also have multifamily experience. With that being said, some of those contractors are not certified through the agencies that the city has required them to be through so that we can count their participation. And so you see, we're also busy helping those firms get those required certifications and helping them work through that process too. And then, of course, on the outreach side, as far as workforce development, you see we are busy there too, doing training and outreach sessions and job fairs. So those are some of our activities so far. At this point, the next slide, Bonita, we do have two projects that are pretty much complete, and one, I would say, substantial completion, not completed yet, but to the point where we can confirm those payments. So it's very important because these reports will be forwarded on to other governmental entities that the participation that we tell CDD is confirmed. And so now we're making sure that whatever was reported to us by the general contractors, we're actually calling those minority and women-owned firms to confirm that they did receive that amount on that particular contract. And so that there will be no falsification in any of the reports going forward. And with that being said, I'm going to, the next slide, I believe, is our dashboard, which I will let our fearless leader talk about, Ms. Patrice Haley.
Hi, everyone. Wonderful to see you again. So I am pretty much responsible for making sure that all of the data that we collect from the general contractors and from their subcontractors gets entered into the system. And we cumulatively look at it each month. As Renee mentioned, we, number one, are double checking that the spend is accurate and the value of that spend is accurate. And also that the firms that the GCs are attempting to count towards their participation actually have a valid certification with the right entity. Once Renee checks all of that information and our team gathers it all up, we put it into this dashboard that really paints a picture to let the city know and their stakeholders know exactly where we are through the process. As you can see, the number of projects that we have right now reporting to us represent an addressable spend of about $86 million. Of that $86 million, approximately 21 million of those are to certified hub businesses, meaning that they are historically underutilized and certified as such by the state of North Carolina. The goal for the Forever Home Durham projects are 11% and 7%. And so the pie chart to the right at the top shows you the total contract amount that has been awarded versus the total addressable spend. So this gives you guys an indication of where we are towards achieving those goals. As you can see that we're far exceeding them. We want to continue that momentum as we continue through the remainder of the projects. So at the top are our total commitments. That means what contracts have been written to diverse businesses. The bottom is how many of those contracts that have been awarded and written to diverse businesses and the value of what's been paid to those businesses to date. Because we also think that it's important to make sure that our progress toward payment is achieving and reaching where our commitments are. So you can see the total amount that has been paid to any businesses on the Forever Home Durham projects is roughly $17.8 million. And 8 million of that is representative of what's been paid to Hub certified businesses. So if that's any indication, we're just under half of the way through our commitments to diverse businesses and our payments to diverse businesses. So as the construction progresses, payments happen, and that $8.3 million number is expected to reach closer and closer to that $21.7 million number that we have in total commitments. So overall, wonderful progress, and we continue to push the general contractors, as Renee pointed out, just making sure that we help the city of Durham demonstrate their commitment to diverse businesses in Durham, and that all stakeholders get to see transparently exactly where the spend is landing. So any questions related to that, I'm happy to answer.
Any
Okay,
questions for Patrice and Renee?
well, there's just one more slide, Ms.
Okay.
Courtney.
Yeah.
I always like to let everyone know what's upcoming events that they might want to participate in. If they're there, they can also talk about the Forever Home Durham project too. We just took this week, we went to 2 more, which was the Capitol, which was the statewide midweek celebration, and they also had a vendor fair there, so we participated in that. Today, in partnership with the Hispanic Contractors Association, they had a technology training over with Caterpillar, and so we went there to see if we could meet any new firms, especially because we have some other things coming out with CDD. As far as the site work is concerned. ULI, which is also another partner organization of ours, they have an event coming up. And I think some of the members here have been invited. And then, of course, we have the MWBE Coordinators Conference. This is professionals like myself and Patrice from all over the state. And so we always want to make sure, and they also have a vendor fair at their conference, a MWB vendor fair. So we're going to be present at that conference also to talk about the upcoming opportunities. So if anyone would like more information on any of these, the last 2 events that are coming up, you can feel free to reach out to me. If you need my contact information, I can put it in the chat.
Great. Well, thank you, Renee and Patrice. Appreciate that. I don't think that the presentation was sent out prior to the meeting. Is there a way we could get a copy of that?
I have a copy. I'll send it to everyone.
All right. Thank you so much.
So thank you, Madam Co-Chair. The only other thing that I have as part of my time is that you may want to consider recognizing and introducing the new members to the Affordable Housing Implementation Committee. And because we have several new members who are here tonight.
Yes, thank you for saying that. I would love to do that. And I may need help from Bonita with exactly who the new members are. I'm looking at the panelist list. I do see some new names, but you'd probably be better at it than me.
Okay. One of our new members, which she is on the phone. Her name is Glenda Ange. And we have Thomas O'Rourke, Shannon Judd, Jennifer Wright, Humberto Trejo, Cornell Richards, Howard Burchett, and Lisa Brown.
All right. Well, welcome all of you new members. Thank you so much for being here and being a part of this group and all the important work that happens here.
Thank you for letting us be there.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, and look forward to seeing you guys in future meetings. So
Y'all as well.
I think we've gotten through our formal agenda, and I know we've got several people. I think we will open it up for public comments if there's anyone that would like to comment or have a question, which I think you can do via the chat as well. But if you are an attendee and you would like to say something, then just, I think, Bonita, do they raise their hand? How do they? Oop, you're muted.
I will enter them into as a
Okay.
panelist. Some may decline that.
Okay. All right. Is there anyone that looks like they want to say anything? I can't see anything on my end. All right. I think that's all we've got then. I appreciate everyone's time. I will formally adjourn the meeting, and we covered a lot in a short period of time. So thank you all very much. Wonderful evening and a great weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.